We come back. In short, Kobe Bryant dies. 2 days later, the world shuts down. The COVID outbreak. I find out we're pregnant with our first kid. I'm in the event industry, dude. So we're at an event, and it gets shut down the opening day at the event in Oklahoma.
What up, Solar Pros? Another episode of The Pursuit coming at you. I'm your host, Josh Holland. Today's guest is longtime friend, mega regional here at Pros, our boy, Chris Chavez. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Bro, thanks for coming on. I know we were trying to get you and Brandon together, but he's out of town. But maybe we can squeeze him on a different time. But I think I'm actually pretty excited to dive into your story. Really is unique, man. Like, I don't know of anyone else that's in the industry that's had a transition like you have, or even just how you got into door to door, or like the space, but kind of not really, which we'll dive into through events. But it'll be a good one, man. I think it'll be inspiring for a lot of people.
For sure.
Yeah, man. Dude, just kind of give us a little background, like where you grew up, and then kind of how you transitioned into this event world, and we'll kind of go through there.
Yeah, so I grew up in a small town on the southern border of Colorado and New Mexico.
Okay.
A town called Pueblo. It's a hot spot for the doors.
Yeah.
A lot of you guys know it.
Yeah.
Just went through school there, 18, graduated, and got my first job through a newspaper ad. Just kind of looking through the newspaper, didn't know what I wanted to do with life, knew I didn't really want to go to school, thought about military, stuff like that.
What did the newspaper ad say?
It was a newspaper ad that was looking for 20 new hires. It was like a base plus commission, but guaranteed $400 a week. And I was like, all right, let me check this out.
In the newspaper.
In the newspaper, dude. In the newspaper.
Yeah. There you go. Okay.
So I pull up to this warehouse, right? I go into the garage, like classic. There's 30 dudes sitting there, and this guy comes out with a vacuum cleaner, bro. And he's trying to show us how to disassemble it and how to get a pitch in and do demos. And I'm
you
sitting
just
there
like you didn't know anything. You just walk in, and it's just these dudes.
Just walk in, it's just these dudes.
How are they dressed?
Just T-shirts and pants, and the two guys running it are in suits. So It's like, this could be legit.
Oh, you know? So everyone in there was like looking to get in. Like there wasn't like a correlation or anything.
No, nobody knew what the job entailed, and nobody knew what was going on. They just knew it was a $400 guarantee a week.
Up.
Yep.
Wow, dude. What year is this?
This is 2012.
Okay, let's go.
2012. So I go through it. I said, let me give it a shot. It's 2 weeks. I know I'm going to make $800 in the 2 weeks, at least during the training.
So it wasn't intimidating to find out it was door to door?
A little bit. I'd never even known that door to door was a thing, other than, religion stuff and election stuff. But yeah, the first week after training, they piled us up like 13 deep in a passenger van with no windows in the back.
Bro,
2-hour trip each way to some small towns, and we're knocking on these doors and trying to do demos. That was the whole pitch, was get these demos in. We're going to come in. I'm going to do, I'm going to clean one of your beds, show you what this does. I'm going to clean a whole room for you. Just hear me out. You don't have to buy anything. Now, how I advanced through it is I was able to go in there and I would do the entire house, dude. I would be there for 3 hours just banging it out to where they feel obligated to have to buy that $40 a month, 20-year loan vacuum. So that's kind of how I got into it, and ended up selling 20 in my second month. Kirby's. 20 vacuums in a month.
Bro, Kirby's are legit vacuums.
All my family that bought them for me still have them.
Bro, I remember when I was a kid coming home, and these dudes were in our house cleaning our carpet, and like showing my parents, like they would dump it onto like a pan of like what they got, and like versus your vacuum.
Yep.
And like show you the difference. And my dad freaking bought it right there. It's crazy.
Yeah, all my family that did purchase them are also still making their payments on them.
Oh, really?
Because it's just such a long loan. That's how you get it for so cheap.
20-year loan for, what is it? It's like a $4,000 vacuum.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Depending
Oh
on
my-
what you want to sell it at, what you want to make. But,
Holy
dude, I would go in there, and that was my whole approach is like, let me just come in. I'll do your entire house. Like, I tell them, my boss is like, it's hot out here. Like, let me in. I'll just do your house so I don't have to be outside.
Nice.
And then they'd end up buying it 9 out of 10 times. So it was pretty sweet.
Dang. Okay. So going through Kirby, young kid, and then if I remember right, you got a hold of DirecTV retailer got a hold of you.
Yeah, so after that, I won a competition for the Kirby industry stuff, and
Oh, cool.
I won a all expenses paid trip, and they made a huge post about me, and life changed from that day because every single day after that, I was getting hit up by window cleaning companies and Renewal by Anderson and DirecTV and
Nice.
all this other stuff. And this one guy had reached out to my mom, and he had a DirecTV retailer, and he said, "Hey, your son's a killer. Like, I can make this guy 6 figures easy. I'm going to get him a ticket out to Salt Lake City, Utah. We got this home show. Have him come out for 3 days and just try it out."
Wow.
So, yeah, that's kind of how it all started. And the guy's name was John Lewis.
Okay.
So I go to Utah, know nothing about satellite, DirecTV, never even had TV like growing up. I get to this home show in Sandy at their convention center.
Nice.
I know you know where that's
Oh,
at.
yeah. We've been there together, bro.
Oh, yeah. Get there, there's 50,000 people there, and they're like, "Look, just take this flyer, just ask people who they're using for TV, and we'll reel them in." The part that they didn't tell me was that we also had a booth right behind us on the other side of the curtain that was a Dish Network booth.
Oh, wow. Right behind you.
So first 3-day event, I worked 2 days of it, got 14 deals signed, back to back to back, knew nothing about it. I was pulling guys in. Somebody would do the paperwork. I'd pull more in. But if the beautiful part was we were called Flip Communications. We were literally just flipping people back and forth.
Oh, yeah. You do either one. Dish or DirecTV, so it didn't matter who they had.
We were pulling people from curtain to curtain. Just, "Oh, you have DirecTV? You hate it? So do I. Come this way." Just pull them to the other side of the row, and we got a full Dish booth.
Dang.
Yeah, so those were good days. It was a lot of travel. I was on the road 9 months out of the year.
Dang.
And that's actually how I met Josh Slider.
Okay.
Yeah, so Josh was working with, at the time, as you know, Dish One.
Yeah.
And they were heavily dominant in, like,
Door to door.
in the event, door-to-door space. Like, they did it all, right? They're in almost any event that's an event, they're in.
So Slider was already doing events.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had some studs running it, like Matt Gervais and those guys
Cool.
from back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he'd always been in my ear, and we're sitting there with like a paper banner put up in the back of the booth and a TV on a table and some brochures, and you got Dish One around the corner, and they have this like huge $100,000 setup with 6 TVs and hoppers, and we're like, don't go with those guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Come sleep with us. Dang. So from Kirby to events with DirecTV to like when you meet Slider, what's the time span here?
I would say 2015 is kind of when I met Josh and started seeing him at events, and those guys were just ripping, dude.
Yeah.
Just ripping at these events with the setup that they had.
Yeah.
So, and he was always like, "Dude, you just got to come over here. Like, this is where it's at." You know, Josh, he's kind of always been that way. And I'm just like, dude, loyalty's always been a big thing to me. And, you know, as long as I'm taken care of, I'm going to stay put. But it got tough though. You're in this paper made booth, and these guys are in this.
Well, because the Dish one, if I remember, was it the one that was like the center tower one, and that
20-foot
like,
center tower,
yeah,
connected to 4 other towers, and
yeah,
everything's hooked up, live feed, everything's set up for
legit,
them.
Yeah,
hardwood floors. I mean, you name it.
I mean, you could have 20 guys in that booth selling.
Yeah, and we could have 2 in ours.
Yeah.
So it was crazy.
Dude, yeah, okay. So I mean, like, to kind of give guys context, like my introduction to you was through events, because like you came over to Dish One eventually. Was 16 is when you came over?
In 2016, I had come over, and it's actually an incredible story how I even got over with Josh. We were doing Dish and Direct. The company that I was working for at that time had just lost and been terminated with their Dish contract. So we had all these events I had learned over the years, and they had me doing the contracts, the COIs, insurance, reimbursement stuff. So my name was on all these agreements, and we were in a few events that Dish One had been trying to get in for a few years, because there's a first right to refusal and all that other stuff when it comes to the event world, where they'll only allow one Dish Network dealer per event. So once that happened, Josh caught wind of it. He obviously knew, and he's like, "Hey, dude, like, you got these shows, we got the booths, like it's time, like let's finally do it." And he set up a meeting in Utah, and I said, "All right, I'll go hear you guys out." Flew to Utah. They flew me to Denver from Utah, and it was over from there.
Because you met like literally with
The Hammonds and then Brian Blakely. You remember him?
Oh yeah,
They flew me to Dish, met with Brian Blakely and Amir.
Amir.
Yeah, dude. And I'm sitting there. I'm this young kid. At that time, I'm 21 years old. Dish requires a degree to go work at Dish Corporate.
Yeah.
They want experience, but just those contracts in general
Made you super valuable.
Mm-hmm. And Josh set it up. The Hammonds vouched for it, and
heck yeah.
At one point was the youngest employee and probably the only employee to get a job with Dish Corporate without a degree.
Dang. Yeah. So, what I think is really unique about this is, like, Dish is, I know, Pros kind of was born from a lot of the leadership. Started at Dish One, which was Caliber, and most people know that story. But this idea of like Caliber or Dish One was owned by Dish Network, so we were their direct sales arm, and then there were certain people inside the org that were actually employed by Dish, and you were one of them. And that's what you're saying is like you were the first person or the youngest employee. Like you usually have to have all this education and stuff. Mm-hmm. You got it mainly because of the value that you created with that other dealer. And then Slider just always hunting like he does to find you and then kind of set you up to be in a position to run events basically for Dish Network.
Correct. Yep.
From that point forward. And that's where I met you is, we started getting into events. Geez, I think we really started in like 18 is when, because by that point Caliber had a partnership with Sprint.
The good days.
Yeah, the good days. So we started doing these home shows, and like at first it was like everyone thinks of a home show and they're like, "Oh, dude, like people just come to you. That's got to be so easy." Mm-hmm. All you gotta do is sit there and people just come to you. It's like, no, bro. Like you have to grind in that place, be able to pull people in. Each event is like either more strict or less strict. Like you have the vendors next to you, and like flagging somebody down and then signing them right there. It's an art in of itself. Like a lot of I remember like events started to really pop, and a lot of the door guys would be like in the off season, it's like, dude, let's go hit some events. These top reps couldn't handle events. They didn't want they're like, yeah, I'd just rather go knock because like you're just not good at first.
Yeah, you get to control you have more control on the door. You're in their territory.
Yeah.
Where you're at these events, these people got their families. Like
totally.
They got a deep fried Oreo in one hand, and you got to sit there and, hey, just give me 5 minutes.
Well, and it's so much rejection so fast because you're like, hey, no, hey, why don't you come over?
Yeah.
And people are so resistant there. I mean, it's like you're walking through the mall and there's kiosk salesmen. You're like, dude, get out of here.
Let me walk all the way around over here.
Yeah, like you're avoiding them. Like you see like the icon. So like it's a lot of like there's no pacing in between like doors where you gotta regather yourself. So it's like a rejection so fast and so frequent. You're like you gotta talk to twice the amount of people.
Oh yeah. But you also remember the days like there was multiple days we were slinging 1,000 sprint lines in a day. When the stores that were in that same area were doing 150 lines a month as a store location.
Cranking, dude.
Just cranking. Dude, the good Ryan Olsen days, man.
Dude, my guy. Oh, man. Yeah, I think just to add context there, like that is not an easy job, and just even setting it up like that took, I remember coordinating with you, just like these freaking kits.
Dude, we had 15 cases that were used for like bands, instruments, and the logistics between getting them on a semi and then picking them up from the warehouse and doing the setup and where you're going to store it. And then you have the promoters on the other side that are watching you like hawks, making sure you're not crossing this line or reps aren't being too aggressive. And it was a lot. And we were doing 3 or 4 events per weekend in different states.
Yeah. I remember trying to coordinate shipping the booth kits, or even remember we were having Ty Drake
Dude, we had to have guys rent a
Drive
truck
'em.
and drive across the country because timelines.
Dude, it was wild, man. But it was good business. I mean, you guys were killing it, dude. Like, props to you there. Like that was, Slider and you and just that program. Like, it really elevated the game. And because we were a summer only, program.
Yeah, that was our production outside of summer.
Yeah, it was just this event year round stuff. And everything's going great, and you have a just solid job, dude. Like things are good. Like in all things considered, you're like, dude, I'm doing good, like, and you were like, I remember, and everyone remembers like the world absolutely shutting down, COVID. At that point, it was 60% of my business was home shows for Sprint at that year, just overnight, gonzo. Kind of dive into that, how that was for you.
Well, first, before that kind of happened, I'm sure you remember too, like Sprint, the whole Sprint acquisition, and T-Mobile comes into the picture now, and dude, it's night and day. Like Sprint were the easiest people to work with, and then T-Mobile comes in, and they're like, we want our hands in this. We got our own trucks and our own guys, and we're just fighting, competing against T-Mobile corporate at that point. But fast forward, 2020 happens, and then, well, rewind before that. We all go on that company trip. You remember that. We go to China, and then we go to Thailand.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was the elite trip.
Yeah.
We come back. In short, Kobe Bryant dies. 2 days later, the world shuts down. The COVID outbreak. I find out we're pregnant with our first kid. I'm in the event industry, dude. So we're at an event, and it gets shut down the opening day at the event in Oklahoma.
Really?
Yep.
Well, they just came in and said, hey, we got to shut this down.
We got to shut the doors. We need everybody to go home. No refunds.
Were people in masks and stuff, or that wasn't even
not at that point, no.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And it's so much deeper than that because these events, like, you have to book a year in advance.
Yeah.
It's first right of refusal. So we have 150 events already prepaid for T-Mobile, for Dish, contracts, and they're like, no refunds. Like, we're just going to push it out and hope that it opens up again. But it was a scary time because I go from the highest of highs, right, to
like literally events were crushing
to the absolute unknown. Like, it was so crazy to a point to where Arizona was almost fine. A lot of people were just going about their lives here.
Yeah.
So I would just come into the office every day and just twiddle my thumbs and work out with Mike Hanna in the back and do CrossFit and just kind of wait for events to open back up.
Wow.
But it was a scary time, really scary time.
How was that for you and your wife, like being pregnant and just like not knowing?
It was a lot of the unknown, a lot of uncertainty. She had just stopped working because we were comfortable enough to where she could, stay at home, raise the kid, and just literally everything just shuts down. And it was just.
So was she thinking like, maybe I gotta go back to work? Like
we didn't know what we were doing. Josh said that, I got you and we're going to get through this. And on the flip side of things, on the door-to-door side, it's like the best year in history that we had because everybody's home, right?
Everybody's home, yeah.
We're knocking with these masks that are like somewhat clear. You can still see our face. And
yeah.
Everybody's home. People are still answering their doors, so they're crushing it. But that was the worst feeling, knowing that my part I couldn't give.
Yeah. Yeah, because what's unique about this is you're part of this door-to-door world, but you're like in a different section of it. So you're around, a lot of the guys that are all killing it in door to door, but you're like this event guy. And the money's different, like you're starting to see and then COVID happens and your part of the business, like what you've known and being so good at is gone. What happens there? Like, but the door to door side's still killing it. What happened next?
So, going back to that time, events do come back. It's very restricted. Like there's, you got to be 6 feet away from the next guy. There's markers on the ground. Got to have masks, and it does start coming back. And at that time, we're starting to sell again and get back in the rhythm of things. And that's when Josh had just started meeting with, Max and Justin Gosling and Dustin Raleigh and all these guys. And I'm starting to see these guys come into the office more and more. And I'll never forget the day that Justin and Dustin came in my office and they're like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, you're in the wrong job. Like, you need to get out there and sell with us. And I'm sitting there like, who the F are these dudes? Like, I make six figures, I'm a corporate guy.
Yeah.
And that was like an eye opener for me. But I'll never forget
Slider
that.
at this point, like, we had calibers like Dish, T-Mobile, Internet, ADT alarm, little pest control side even that not a lot of people knew about. And then, I remember Jordan Jepson at Lake Powell with a lot of the regionals being like, years ago, just being like, this solar storm is coming and we got to be ready. And everyone was like, I was like, no way, dude. No
I heard
way.
everybody was just laughing, dude.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
No
I was
way.
like, we were like, dude, there's no way. Cause like you'd see these, these guys saying like, oh, I made $1 million in solar. And I literally was like, that's not possible. That's impossible. And like one of the door-to-door cons I went to, I saw a kid that said "Solar Millionaire" on his shirt, and I was like, "What a freaking punk, dude!" I was like, "That's so fake."
What a dirtbag, yeah.
Well, I was like, "That's the most fake thing ever." I was like, "You wouldn't be here if you were doing that." Like, just dumb me. And then, dude, come to find out, like, Slider gets into, secures like a solar division for Caliber, and that's when we started that relationship with Freedom. Brings on Justin and Dustin to help run that. And then those guys come in, and then they see a guy like you, and they're like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you need to sell solar. Like, let me show you how easy it is to sell solar. That sums it up?
Yep. And honestly, too, like, I'm already on edge at that point. Like, things aren't as good as they were.
Yeah.
There's still that unknown factor. And now I'm seeing all these dudes pull up in these Model X's. And this is back when Teslas were like,
if you had a Tesla, you were a baller.
Yeah, you have a Tesla, you're just, you're a rich one.
Yeah.
So once that starts happening, as you know, the Arizona is kind of the first market that really started tackling the solar because those guys are here.
Yeah.
But now, fast forward a month and all these guys are driving around these Teslas now. And our whole parking lot at one point is all Teslas, and they're all young kids, and they're just flaunting their money and what they're making. And I just know they're doing really, really well.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling at that point because a lot of my, income was off of bonus production, stuff like that.
And now you don't have control over that.
Now I have zero control. Yep. So, and it's so cool too, because at that point I was scared almost to let go of like a salary position, but I knew I still had it. So in my mind, it was like, what better time to go try it while you're still getting paid this and you're not really too busy.
Yeah.
And I started having these lucid dreams every single night. I still remember it, of me just being on the doors, pitching solar in home with the client, talking about solar. And that's kind of when I knew, like, okay, let me take a Saturday. I'm off. Let me go knock some doors for a couple hours and see if this is something I can do.
And at this point, you've never knocked before.
Just for vacuums.
Just for vacuums, which was like 5-6 years before that.
Oh, yeah. Long time.
Dang,
Long time.
bro. Let's go. So what happened?
Went out that Saturday, got 2 appointments. Josh Slider came out, closed one of them for me.
What a badass story, dude.
Dude,
That's what people don't get about Slider. Was like, dude, he, credit to Jordan, Curtis, Slider, Justin, Dustin. Like, I remember Slider calling me and being like, dude, I'm on the doors. And he was he's an SVP at Caliber.
Dude.
Like, he's like, he called me one time and was like, hey, I'm going to fly up to Idaho. Let's just go knock solar for a day. And he flew up, and it was cold as balls, dude. And we went out, and he sold the first door we talked to. It was a Dish customer. We just pulled up a Dish lead, knocked it, grabbed the power bill, sat right down there with him. I recorded the whole thing. He sold it. And every day I would drive past it, I'd just see these panels on this house in the corner. I'm like, freaking Slider sold that. But, like, just credit to that, man. Like, he was all in, and not above doing anything. I love that he's closing your deals, dude. Like, that's such a badass
Dude,
thing.
went out, set those 2. He closed the first one. I went back the next day, closed the second one. So I was 2 for 2 on my first 2 doors.
Did you train for that, or did you just?
With him, yeah. Just what he showed me, and I mean, it's not a complicated system, CRM that we're using.
Yeah.
So it's pretty plug and play.
He just ripped it.
He told me what to do. He checked it before I went back.
Boom.
Said the same stuff, and client's like, so what's the next step? You know?
Bro, let's go. And you're like, okay, I'm pretty over this salary thing.
Yeah, and honestly, I was able to do both for about a full year, so it was a blessing. I was able to balance, you know,
Just slinging on the side.
I was able to balance the event stuff, and luckily, well, let me rewind. At that point, I had known that I wanted to start something, and that's when I kind of like had this eye opener.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in the office. I had a handful of guys that were like kind of my reps, but doing event stuff with me. And I remember seeing Brandon Ewell, who I've known previously, like didn't really know him personally, but I saw him come and join the group with us.
Yeah.
Here at Caliber, I think it was formerly at that time. And we started talking. I said, hey, dude, you know, I have these 4 or 5 guys, and I know what you've done in the past. I know you were like #1 region at Clear Home. And he's like, dude, you talking about partnering up? I was like, let's do it. And that's where it all started.
Wow,
Exact
he was that open
conversation.
to it.
Oh, yeah. Well, he had came on, and he only had one guy. So he was just starting back up, and I obviously had a handful of guys, so there's some value there.
Because you're converting your event guys.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep. Outside of events, like at that time, it was so slim. Like the events that we were doing, like between the funding from Dish and the COVID stuff, it was just we had a lot of free time, and those guys, everybody in Arizona that was doing Dish, I remember constantly having a battle with them. Like, no, Dish is the future. Like Dish is where it's at. Like focus on Dish. Focus on Dish. But everybody was like, dude, I want to get in solar. I know what these guys are making. I know what these guys are doing. And it was just a struggle, and I finally just gave in and said, all right, let's go do some solar.
This is a cool story, dude. Like, credit to you, man. Like, and dude, it's the power of your environment. You know, like, if you're not around that, you know, you don't have other leaders or people like, dude, like who your life's very different right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because to kind of give you guys a shout out, like, since that point, since you and Brandon have partnered, dude, I remember that first year with Pros, or even, you know, the year before that, we were still Caliber, but with Freedom, you guys were doing 80 a month, just every single month, dude. Like, and I remember looking at that and being like, damn, like, how do we get there? Like, how, because we had gone through a really hard time, but, dude, like, to see you guys grow, which, I mean, this year you guys are popping, you know, things have been challenging, but good at the same time, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of shifts, like, just like everybody, but dude, credit to you guys, man. Like, it's really cool
Appreciate
to
it.
see what you guys have built.
Dude,
And,
Brandon put us all on his back. Honestly, like the credits to him the first couple years, I mean, it was truly a grind. Like we truly, like AJ Duffy said, we had to pay that price.
Yeah.
We had to do the things that were uncomfortable. We had to ride out an hour and a half each way every day to area. We were getting home at 9 and 10 o'clock at night. We had 2-3 setters. It was a grind for, you know, the first year, second year part of it, and we're still selling. I was in area last night till 10 o'clock.
Let's
I got
go.
home at 10:30 last night.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of have to in this industry to know, like, the systems, the changes, like the panels, and how do you fix this? Because if you're not doing it, it can get tough to answer questions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude, let's dive into, you know, okay, now you guys are partners.
Mm-hmm.
Dynasty, you know, is a staple region in pros. You know, like, but there's so much to just unpack even the past 2 years inside that journey. Because, I mean, you guys really started in 21 together.
Yes. Yep.
21. So all of 22 that's probably your first full year together.
Yeah, that was the first full year.
First
22.
full year, and then rolling into 23. That's when we transitioned to pros. You know, and then 24, and then here we are in 25. So, I mean, walk us through that, dude. Like, even like you personally, like, this job has a way of like kind of bringing things to the surface, and if you let it and you are curious, you can transform in ways that kind of you never thought you would anywhere else, dude. So I know that you've gone through some transformations and things like that. So let's dive into that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was all like I've always been like a logistic guy and like very organized and kind of knew what I wanted to do and where I was going. Kind of loved to have a roadmap. And the first couple years, we were all just 100% like Arizona based. Like, let's just sell here. We're not paying a dime to go sell somewhere else. We live in the best market. And
Arizona was banging.
Dude, it was banging.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, once again, Dustin comes around. He's like, oh, dude, like, you guys got to get into Illinois and Massachusetts and Maine and all these other markets. And we're like, dude, you're crazy. Like, we're making great money here and we're not spending any money. But once again, he was right. And we started shifting everything to outside of the Arizona market. And that's kind of when we started like to 2X, 3X, 4X our production. And, you know, now we have teams in 6 or 7 different networks. But it's all just been a journey, and it's been awesome learning through all the, you know, the tough times. And now it's more of just being scared or not knowing the unknown. It's like, what am I learning from this? What is the world trying to teach me from this situation, and how am I going to grow from it? And I mean, you know, all the Doug Cartwright stuff, dude. He's been a true blessing in my life this year.
That's awesome, bro.
So it's been huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that can I let life happen through me and for me rather than to me?
Yeah.
Which is just a different lens. It's like taking off this pair of glasses, putting on a different pair, else in the world, like everything's different. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you can let this job do that to you, people are just resistant, you know, just unknowingly. You know, that's what's so hard is like you're so unknowingly resistant to what it can offer you if you'll let it. And, you know, you resist. You know?
Dude, and it's just so true that, like, you really do grow when you're going through the storm. Like, that's when, as a leader, that's when you're developing new skills and learning new things and really just growing as a human, is when you're getting through those tough times. And Doug said the first thing that he had said the first time I had heard him was, he pulls up his PowerPoint and it's like, you can't stop the waves from coming, but you can learn to surf.
Yeah, great quote.
And it's like, dude, like, who is this dude? Like, I just love it. And that's what it is. Like, if you look at the turbulence that we've had in the last year throughout the industry, it's like, yeah, these things are coming at me, but you can learn to either surf or just keep eating salt water.
Dude, yeah, just getting pummeled.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, ride it.
Just stuck in the middle of the ocean, dude. Just
yeah.
Had to figure it out.
So what's that been like for you though? Like, what are you? I mean, anything that any example or like, you know, shift in you of like how you saw something versus now, and like kind of letting it happen through you?
I'd say a big one is like just to be like vulnerable with everybody. Is like, I dealt with a lot of like, not anxiety, but I would constantly eat it myself, or like, I mean, constantly, like, you're not doing enough. You're not enough. Like, you got to get out there more. You got to go produce more. You got to get more recruits in. I just constantly was just like, you know, you're not doing what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And I would let that eat at me. And I always hated that person inside my head that would constantly like be eating at me and nagging at me.
That critic.
Yep, that critic. And then, but after, you know, meeting with Doug, and he's able to dig deeper, and he's saying like, look, dude, none of this is a bad stuff. What you're telling me is like, these aren't bad things. Look at the things that you've gotten from this. If you didn't have that critic in your head pushing you, you would be like still water, not moving. Now you have, you know, a rental property, an Airbnb, you know, things going for you. But you should be thanking that critic in your head instead of looking at it as a bad thing. And once I was able to shift that perspective, it's been so helpful. And now anytime that comes up, I'm like, you know what? Thank you. Like, I needed that. Yeah. I needed that little nudge today.
Yeah, that nudge.
Let me go hit a few more doors, or let me go to this appointment.
Dude, that's great, man. So really just accepting kind of the voice a little bit more of like, just because it's there doesn't mean, well, I think you learn to like, you're kind of not your thoughts. Like you observe them. You know, like this was a big thing for me of recognizing, you know, there's a book called Untethered Soul, and Michael Singer is, dude, he's just the GOAT. He's literally like Doug is like an apostle of, of this guy. Like all of his stuff's from he's done. Talk to Doug about him. He'll talk about him for days. Like that's his idol. But in the book, like one of the first things it talks about just blew my mind, dude. I was like, I've just never even thought of that. Was this idea of you're not your thoughts, and I'm like, or like who's thinking? Like when you know like you close your eyes or whatever, like you have these thoughts, like it's literally your voice, and you're like, well, that's me. That's what most people assume. Like if I close my eyes and I yell help in my mind, and you say, okay, who was that said it? And you'd be like, well, it was me. I said it. And it's like, how can it be you if you observed it, right? If you yell help right now, I'm hearing you say it. So I'm clearly not you. So in my mind, if I'm doing that, then who's the one that's yelling help if I'm observing it? And all of a sudden you're like, and it talks about how you peel back and you're like, you're not your thoughts. You're not your body. You're the observer of your body and your thoughts.
Dude, that's deep.
And you're like, boom. You're like, holy cow. It's like, it's this idea of like an inner roommate. Mm-hmm. You think that you've lived alone up there your whole life. And then one day you find out, you're like, wait a second, that psycho in there is not me. And it has you assign it a body. You're in like, make it look like someone else. Like, so when you hear help or whatever it's saying, give it a body. And all of a sudden you're like, holy F, dude, I've been living with this person. And sometimes they're great, but sometimes they're psycho. You know, they say the craziest stuff of all time. And like sometimes they're on my team and sometimes they're against me. But at the point is like, you can observe it. It's like when you hear like the anxious mind or the rage or whatever, you can separate yourself from it and be like, oh, that's okay. That's not me. Like it's okay. It's just there. I can observe it, and if it's useful, I can decide that myself. And that freaking changed everything for me. I was like,
dude, that's totally in alignment with like what I was talking about. Like,
yeah.
Doug had me give it a shape, a color, a freaking name.
Yeah.
And now it's like I address it, and I'll catch myself like thanking it at times where before it was a bad thing, you know?
Yeah.
Looking at it as a bad thing, but now I know like, hey, that thing's been pushing me, and it's going to continue pushing me, and I love it.
That's great, bro. Yeah, isn't that so cool? Like, I don't know of, another spot where you're learning that type of stuff, and then it makes you better at everything. Like better at home.
Absolutely.
Better with the kids. You guys got 3 kids, and then better for your people. You know what I mean? Like it's hard. It really is like just these classic lines. It's hard to take someone where you've never been. These guys that are having the same issues as you, if we can't as a leader figure out how to solve that and like evolve and get better, what advice can we offer them? That's the person who's never closed a deal offering advice to a guy that is learning how to close. Like,
right.
You can't give what you don't have. It's the same thing. So, dude, that's awesome. What else would you say you've learned from Doug?
Dude, there's so many things, but like a lot of it too is just knowing that no matter what happens, like just internally, that you're going to be okay. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day is what pretty much sums it up. And then not controlling anything that you can't control. It's like those are the things that are going to just drain your energy and just drag you down. He's got a story that he likes to tell all the time about a Chinese farmer, and I don't know if we have time for that story.
Oh, yeah,
I can
let's
give you
hear
like
it.
a short version
Yeah,
of
let's
it,
hear it.
but okay. So I'll give you the short version. So long time ago, it's in China. There's a Chinese farmer. He's got one horse that pulls his tools around, and he's got a son that lives with him, and it's just them two. Well, one day, his horse breaks free of his reins and takes off running into the mountains. A small little village, all these people come up and form up around him, and they're like, hey, man, like, this is tragic. Like, this is all you have. Like, how are you going to eat? How are you going to survive? And the Chinese farmer, he's like, maybe, maybe not. 2 days later, the son and the dad they're sitting on the porch just trying to figure out what the heck they're going to do. And they hear this noise, and there's 20 horses coming down the mountain. And that one horse that got out is bringing back 19 other horses with him. all these villagers come around him. They're like, oh my goodness, like you're going to be rich. Like you got all these horses, the surplus, and
Maybe.
what are you guys going to do with all this? Yep. Maybe not, you know? A few days later, you know, the son's trying to break these horses because he's got 19 wild horses that have never been ridden, and he's trying to break them so they could sell some, use more for their farming. One horse goes nuts and just launches the son off the horse. His leg snaps in 2-3 places. Once again, all the villagers, you know, come around him. They're like, hey, like this is so tragic. Like, what are you guys going to do? You can't break these horses now. You're going to have to let them go. Farmer, once again, you know, maybe not. The next morning, the military, because they're at war, pulls up on horseback. They're just ripping dudes from houses. You know, they're doing a draft. They're taking all the men. They come in, evaluate the son. They're there to grab him, right? His leg is just mangled and snapped in 3 places. And they're like, we can't take you. You're useless, right? Villagers are just like, at this point, like, minds blown. Like, the things that you've gone through in the last 3 weeks to a month. And at the end of the day, it's just like you never really know what's coming out of a situation and what you're going to learn from that situation and what the world has for you. So it's just, instead of daunting on it and, you know, trying to find excuses to pity on yourself, you can look at it in other ways and learn from it and grow from it. And you never know what's going to be on that other side.
Such a great lesson, dude.
It's an awesome story.
It's a great story.
Doug's version's a half an hour. So
Oh, yeah.
I left a lot of steps out of there, but try to
dived
give you
into
the short one.
Dude, I think that's, you know, this concept of like surrender. People think of surrender of like submitting, and they're very different things. Submitting is like cowering. Surrender is like, you know, you're holding onto a rope that's just burning your hands, and you're exhausting all of your energy to hold onto this rope. And the rope used to be something that was important to you, right? Like you really wanted to hang on to this thing, and it's just slowly just ripping your hands up, and just all this energy, and you're just like holding on for might. And then you kind of peel yourself back, and you're like, do I need this rope anymore?
Yep.
And you surrender, and you're like, I don't. So you let go, and then all that energy is yours now, and you get to keep it. So it's that, that's what I think that phrase of like life happens through you and for you, if you let it, is you get attached to how outcomes are supposed to be. You
Right.
know? And when you can just be like, maybe, you know, this could be the best thing for me, but if it's not, then it's going to be something else for me, and that's okay. And it's that, like, I'm just going to let it go and flow. And that's what the surfing is.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, I can't control the wave. The wave's going to throw me this way. It could throw me that way. I can't beat it. I can't beat life. How good are you at predicting your life? Doug always asks that.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, I fucking suck at that. You
Absolutely.
know? And so I love that, dude. Such a great story. How do you feel like that's helped you kind of this year on this mega solar coaster that we've been on, bro? How do you feel like that's helped you?
Dude, it's honestly like the thing that I take away the most from this is every issue that comes up, every problem, like all the turbulence when it does come up, is like everything has a lesson in it now in my mind. And it's like, why is this happening to me? Trying to figure it out. What can I learn from it? And what is, you know, the world trying to teach me from this? How can I come out greater from this lesson that I'm learning right now in this moment right here, versus like just having anxiety and being scared? And there's nothing that you can do to change that outcome of what's happening if you can't control it. So instead of looking at it as a negative, try to find the lesson in it and the value that is being taught to you through some way. You know, Doug says all the time, it's like life is one big mountain, you know, and you're for the rest of your life, you're going to be climbing this mountain, and you're going to have a backpack on. And along your journey, these rocks are just going to be put in your backpack, and it's going to get heavier and heavier, and there's nothing you could do about it. It's just life. But it's when you can learn to eliminate those rocks instead of trying to drag that heavy backpack up that mountain, it's a lot easier to scale the mountain when you got an empty backpack.
Oh yeah.
So it's a lot of stuff that you're just learning to internally just let go instead of trying to hold everything and take everything with you on your journey. Like there's no point in taking things with you that you can't control.
Yeah, a phrase that it's really helped me is, does it serve me? Is this serving me? And there's so many times where I'm like, hell no, dude. Like I need to let this shit go. Like, but it requires self-awareness, and that's I think that's the hardest thing for guys is you hear all this stuff. Like we've heard things like this our whole careers. Mm-hmm. Maybe not like this direct or this clear. But it is one of those things like, why can't everyone hear that and then do it? All these stories, saying the same thing in a different way. It's to help us understand so you'll actually do it. But so few can like take the time and have the courage. I remember when like you texted me like, hey, link me up with Doug.
Yep.
Courageous moment, pivot moment. Life shifted, but you made a decision, right? Like that.
Dude, and it couldn't have happened at a better time. Like this was before like things started kind of getting a little bit turbulent and everything, and effects of the bill and all that stuff. So it was like, that's another reason why I feel like it was really truly for me to get in touch with Doug, and because the lessons that I've learned from it have really helped carry me through this and just changed my perspective on everything.
Totally. Dude, let's talk about your partnership with Brandon for a minute. I know we shouted him out at the beginning for kind of putting some things, doing a lot, but that's a dude right there.
That's my guy.
Such a genuine, heartfelt, like just good, solid person.
Just a good father, a good man.
Yeah.
Like a man of God and somebody I truly want to be like.
Yeah.
And dude, I owe a lot to that guy, and I'll be with him forever, whether it's with solar or anything else. And he's taught me a lot, and he's somebody that I can genuinely look up to, somebody that's, a mentor to me, and I'm just grateful for him. He's taught me a lot of things that I didn't know along my journey, and if I didn't have him in the beginning, I wouldn't know the grit and what it requires to go through what we went through to get to where we are today.
Dude.
Just such a good dude.
I love seeing that, dude, because partners, it's rare to have solid partners. Like somebody you're like, that's my guy. I know he has my back. And, dude, when you find those people, like, you protect that. You protect it with your life, dude. Like, you're, I feel the same way about Teague in a lot of ways. Like,
that's the man, too, right there.
Bro, salt of the earth.
Absolutely.
Absolute salt of the earth. And a story I love to tell about Teague is, this is how you know you got a good business partner, is when all of a sudden I get a Venmo transaction from him out of nowhere for like $27.15. The most random number. I'm like, hey, what is this? Hey, sorry, I accidentally used our card at the gas station with the kids, our business card. Mm-hmm. Here's what I owe you. I've never even looked at our credit card. I've never even logged into it one time. Tegan has it. Like that type of, trust. But dude, I love seeing that for you guys because it's just rare. It's just so rare. So like when you have it, you hang on to it, and you can you feel your emotion, like you guys have bonded, and
yeah,
that's
it's a blessing. And honestly, like in any kind of sales industry, like it's tough to have everything on your back. Like,
yeah,
you want to have a partner so you can share the load, and so you have somebody that you can vent to at a certain level of things, somebody to level you out when you need that leveling.
Totally.
I mean, there's just so many things that I've learned from him throughout the years. And
what advice would you give to guys like in partnerships? Because a lot of people are in a duo, in something, even managers. What would you say? What advice would you give?
I would say a lot like kind of what you had just said. Just make sure that it's genuine, and you can feel it when you have the right partner. There's something there.
What do you mean? Like, describe it.
I would say, like, when you have somebody that can finish like something that you're starting without having to tell them to do that, without having to ask them, that's something that you can always carry with you. Somebody that is willing to like, hey, like, I know you got this with the kids today. Stay home. I got this. I'm going to take everybody out. I'll give so-and-so some gas to get the rest of the guys out. Just somebody that's always on the same page. Somebody that wants to invest with you, you know, get properties or whatever. It's not all about just your business.
Yeah.
They have to be in your life outside of work. And it's just so much bigger than just work. When you have a partner that's to that magnitude, your partner is outside of work. And like I said, like, we only want to do business with people that we want to do life with. And he's somebody that I don't want to do life without.
That's a great way to phrase it. It's like, how do you know? Well, it's like,
I feel secure having him on my back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like, ask yourself that question. Like, are you willing to do life without them? You know, it's like the opposite of like do business who you want to do life with. I've never thought about that. Like, imagine it without them. And that's probably a good indicator of like, this is a keeper, you know, and you can get through it. Cause like, dude, especially in this, like, your relationship it's like marriage, dude. Like, you get tested.
Oh yeah.
There's ebbs and flows in that, you know, and you make it through those hard conversations, and it's like that's where the bond comes. Those hard ass times, those hard conversations, those tough decisions, the whys. Like, dude, I mean, me and Tika have cried together, dude. Like, we've lost a lot of our network this year, and you know, it's been challenging. And it's like, sometimes you're like, man, I feel like I'm doing everything I can, but it falls short, you know. And then you have that person there with you. It's like, man, like, we're gonna be okay, you know. Yep. Like, we'll get through it. So
we've done it once. We'll get back to it. And
yeah,
dude, he's the creator of that purple star that's always pushed me, because he's constantly trying to do so much. I'm constantly like, all right, I gotta stay, you know, pulling my weight. And it's like, you know, but it's been something that's been incredible. Once I flipped it and stopped looking at it as a negative, and now it's something that's pushing me to work harder and just acquire more, you know.
So it seems like you, Chris 1.0, event Chris 2.0 is like this solar coaster, great partner, the willingness to go do the hard thing, and then now like diving deep in like the inner work and like just get, you know, through and through. What does Chris Chavez 3.0 look like?
You know, I can't tell all my secrets yet.
Yeah.
Whatever the world has for me. But it's true though. Like, we have to constantly be developing ourselves to be able to develop our leaders. That's something I heard Chris Malink say, you know, at the beginning of the year, and that's very, very true. And that's another reason I took that step. So you got guys like that are like, dude, you have all these leaders and all these guys that are working for you and around you, and you have to constantly be developing yourself. You have to work for your people. We take that very serious, where it's like, I'm not your boss. Like, I work for you guys. You guys are constantly telling me what to do and asking me questions. And once you can look at it like that and just take care of your people, everything else just falls in line.
Dude, I love that. Yeah, we really are the chokehold of the business. Like, they can only scale to the level of your development.
Dude, and no matter what, like, we have to be optimistic when things are, you know, questionable. And that's a big part of it, is like any kind of leadership. You have to be the one that's optimistic, and no matter what, like, you're just going to keep getting out there and grinding and doing your thing, and everyone else is going to do what you're doing.
Yeah. I love that, dude. Bro, any last like advice you'd give to rep level, manager level of just like this industry that we're in, this solar coaster, like the changes, like anything on hope? Like, what advice would you give?
My advice would be, first, I would say I've been taking a lot of time to journal, because in this industry and with social media and everything, it's like you're constantly just like wanting more and seeing what other people have, and
comparison's crazy.
You just get, you know, complacent and whatnot. And once you start taking that 10 minutes in the morning and just asking yourself, like, just writing it down is so powerful. Like what is something that my past self would have begged for that I have today? Just questions like that.
That's powerful.
Just writing down like things, just talking, having a conversation with yourself 5-10 years ago is it's just so powerful. So that would be the number one thing. My advice would be to start journaling in some form in the morning. It takes 5-10 minutes literally, but you leave there like feeling like, man, I got all this stuff. Like, I'm so grateful. Like, my kids are healthy, 3 beautiful kids. You know, my wife, my support system is just incredible. And then the other thing that I would say is just look at your mind as a garden and really try to limit the bad that you're putting in your mind. Because if you start throwing some weeds in there, they're just going to grow and it's just going to get bad. But treat your mind like a garden. You know, if you're religious, pray often, read the Bible for 5-10 minutes a day, listen to podcasts, put the good things in your mind instead of just sitting on social media. If you're going to be on your phone and scrolling, there's so many apps that you can download that have good content that's actually going to teach you things. And on your way to area, you should be listening to Audible books. Holy shit, We're Alive. Doug Cartwright, dude. I've listened to it twice in the last 2 weeks. Just, you know, on my way to area, on my way coming back to area, Relentless, like all these books, dude. Like, listen to a book instead of listening to some hip hop or rap songs on your way to area, at least one way.
Yeah.
But treat your mind like a garden and water it with the proper things, because as soon as you get some bad weeds in there, you're going to have nothing but weeds.
Good stuff, dude. He's such a good reminder, man. Again, it's hearing it and then actually having the courage to apply it. And I think that what guys don't understand is, like, just like what we said, like when you were like, all right, I want to be around this Doug guy. To the courage to be like, okay, I'm going to do it. Right. And then action, boom, decisive action. It's like everyone just heard what you said. And so few people will actually be like in the car and be like, you know what, maybe I will plug in on an audiobook. And if I could get to somebody and like shake them, like that's the difference maker. And it's like, it's no sauce. It's like, dude, just do that little thing right there. And like you put so eloquently, like with the garden, it's like, dude, the weeds grow without you doing anything. Mm-hmm. They just come, dude. Like, you don't have to do anything for weeds to grow. So you got to weed your weeds.
Absolutely.
Yeah, take care of it. Like, that's your mind. You're like, what's coming in there? The weeds are the pessimism. It's a natural thing to be pessimistic. It's hard to be optimistic. You have to plant it yourself.
Yep.
The pessimism just comes. You don't have to do anyone can just sit back and just be pessimistic. It's the easiest thing ever. So, yeah, it's just like, if I could just get people to like,
dude, weeds can even be employees.
Yeah.
Like if you're focusing, 80% of your energy on guys that are doing 20%, like at the end of the day, like it can be bad for your garden. If you have guys that are constantly needing certain things or just being negative all the time,
it's hard.
It's like you have the 5-minute friends, 5-hour friends, and 5-day friends. The 5-minute friends, those are dudes that are negative that you just, like, you'll say hi because they're around, but you don't want to hang out with them.
Yeah.
Then you got your 5-hour friends that, like, these dudes are cool. Like, I'll hang out with them. I'll break bread with you. Then you got your 5-day friends, and, like, these are the guys that I want to be. These are the guys that, like, let's take a trip together. Let's go backpack, another country for the week.
Yeah.
And it's just really figuring out how to separate those groups and investing the right time in the right friends and the people around you.
Dude, so much wisdom from you, man. Grateful for you to come on, dude, and share some of that. It's just such good stuff for guys to hear. These young guys, man, I don't know if you feel the same way. Like, a huge motivating thing for me to like want to get better is, and like do some of the things we've talked about, or like some of the things that I've done, is because I wish, because I want to teach people them, because I wish someone could have gotten to me when I was young.
I feel the same way.
At 22, 23 years old, 24, 25, dude, 28, 29. Not that long ago. Like, it's like not that much, not long ago. I wish someone could have gotten to me sooner so I could be better now than I am. Mm-hmm. So props to you, man, for being courageous and like taking a lot of the steps. And dude, you guys are doing so well. We're lucky to have you and Brandon and your guys' network at Pros. Like, it wouldn't be the same without you guys. And just grateful to have you here, man.
Dude, really appreciate it, man. And thank you for having me on here. And to everybody else, just kind of, remember that the problem is never actually the problem. It's, it's your relationship to the problem. And a lot of the stuff that AJ said on our call recently is just
Spot
so
on.
good, dude. Even that just put me in, just my mindset was just like, boom, let's go. Let's run through a wall.
It's a great state. Love it.